you're into Jitsu, you've probably seen people post technique videos like these on social media. If you're like me, you probably thought to yourself, would these actually work on someone with more than 2 brain cells? So today, I'm going to be putting these flashy techniques to the test by attempting to hit them in live training. There's 10 different moves I'm going to try, and I ended up being pretty surprised by the results. This first move is apparently called a rocking chair choke. Seems like a pretty convoluted way to choke somebody, but we're going to see if it works. So first I'm going to hit on a white belt, then up the difficulty. I figured the best way to set this up was from the armbar, so I throw my leg over to enter into it. I start bringing my arm under his neck and lock my hands together. I try finishing it right here, but his hand is making some space, so I use my foot to clear it, and I get the tap with the rocking chair choke. I was honestly surprised it worked, but next I was going to try it on a blue belt named Andrew. Once again, I get into the armbar position, but Andrew is more experienced, so I knew I had to set it up faster. He tries coming up to his knees, but when he comes back down, I quickly lock it up, and I squeeze using my shin and my forearm to get the tap. This choke really wasn't bad. Maybe Instagram's the best place to go to learn jiu-jitsu. Well, maybe not. This is a modified rear naked choke I found, and I tried doing it to Andrew, but unfortunately, a real person doesn't just keep their hands down and not defend. So Andrew grabs my choking hand, which is left completely in the open, and I just decide I have to finish with the traditional RNC. So that one's a fail. So I got some submissions from Instagram, but what about some defense? This is a weird triangle defense I saw. It looks like it could put you in a bad position, but we'll see. From the triangle, I try posturing up as much as I can. Then I throw my arm under and turn to misalign my shoulders. From here, I'm still kind of in trouble, but I'm able to suck my head out. Definitely could have went bad, but we'll call that a win. Now this. I'm gonna call this a modified Kimura. It's basically a Kimura for people who just want to be different. I keep trying to go for it on Andrew, but unfortunately when the top person isn't cooperating, it's pretty hard to grab the wrist. And I kept trying to fight off the urge to go for a regular Kimura. I'm sticking with a regular Kimura from now on. This one's a fail. Next, we're going to try out this one. It's a submission that targets the groin, but I feel like if someone's too flexible, they just won't tap to it. So let's see. Set it up, I let Ishmael trap my foot, then I lock my legs and roll over my shoulder into the truck position. From here, I try finishing it, and I think Ishmael considers tapping, but then he's like, nah, this ain't that bad. So I'm forced to use all my brain cells to think about how I'm going to finish this, and I decide to pull his ankle behind my head to increase the tension, and I hip in to get the tap. Not exactly how she did it, but at the end of the day, for all submissions, you're going to need to do some problem solving. That's why there's all these shirts about jiu-jitsu being like chess after all. So next, I'm going to try to hit this weird choke from the clamp position. Unfortunately, I don't think my arms are long enough for this one. Also, when they start turning away from you, this feels impossible to hit. But luckily I came in with another sub to hit. The rear naked choke from the Plada. So I go to the Plada and I start to sit up, searching for his neck. He falls back, but this actually makes it easier for me. I grab his shoulders so he can't get back up. I start scooting out. I dig my arm under his neck and get the tap with a rear naked choke from the Plada. So next, I'm gonna try another crazy move, the Bulldog Choke. Crossface him, and as he comes up, I start sliding it under his neck, but he's a former wrestler, so getting this was not gonna be easy. While we're doing these crazy scrambles, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, X Martial. As you can see here, I'm wearing one of their rash guards. I always like to wear rash guard when I train because a normal t-shirt will ride up on me, and when it comes to rash guards, X Martial has the highest quality of any brand I've ever worn. They have some great deals on their website, xmartial.com, for all different kinds of designs. So check them out with the link in the description. And when you do, make sure to use the code JOSHRICH to get 10% off. These guys provide so much support for my channel, so if you could check them out, it'd be awesome. When it comes to the Bulldog Choke, I basically give up on this one. This sub could definitely work, but once they see it coming, it's pretty tough to pull off. But we're gonna move on to the next one. The next one we're doing is this Noi Ezekiel. See this a lot in the gi, but it's kind of rare in no-gi, so let's see if I can make it work. A lot of people's immediate reaction when they're in bottom mount is to push on the hips, which is good, but also gives me a perfect opportunity to start going for this choke. So I lock it up with this unusual grip, and usually people use their fist and they'll hide their hand in their bicep, but this guy just does it more of a karate chop style, so I try it, and I'm able to make it work and get the tap. It's good, but in jiu-jitsu, you usually want to hide the end of the lever. For example, when you do a rear naked choke, you want to put your hand in your bicep because if it's out in the open, they can grab it and pull it down. When they're at the end of the limb, they have the most leverage. So I like the version of this where the hand is hidden and it's not vulnerable to being grabbed. But that's just me. This move is still a success. Now we're on to the next one. Final submission I'm going to be hitting is the treacle Plada. First, I gotta pass Ishmael's guard. When someone is on their side framing, the top frame is the one maintaining the most distance. So I always focus on beating that one first. Swat it away and go into half guard. I knee slice through. Then, as Ishmael turns to his side, I grab a kamur. I step over his head and throw my leg over to enter into the treacle Plada. From here, I rotate his arm to get the tap. So the treacle Plada is a success. Here's the verdict on these flashy moves. It was really fun working these, and I honestly was surprised about how effective some were. But a lot of them relied on very specific reactions from your partner, some of which are just unrealistic. So when you see a move, don't just imagine the best case scenario. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and click the link down below to get some sick rash guards.